It's the enemy from within, all the scum that we have to deal with that hate our country. That's a bigger enemy than China and Russia. Cannot get into a hospital, by the way, because the migrants have all of the beds. You cannot get into a hospital. You cannot get your kids into a school because there are migrants there that don't even speak the language. It's unbelievable. They're giving, because of Biden and Kamala, they're giving precedence over your children who've been in that school. Is it not even thinkable?
That was Donald Trump on the campaign trail spewing his typical anti-immigrant vitriol. That strategy of demonizing immigrants is now the primary message of the Trump campaign. And nothing could be more un-American. Immigrants built this country and they continue to make it better. Today, I want to share a conversation I had with a member of my team, a volunteer for the Ken Harbaugh Show, who helps make these videos and who you've probably also seen in the comments helping me to reply to many of you. Jeremy is a veteran of the Australian military and an immigrant to the U.S. And he shares a perspective I think we all could learn from, not just about how immigrants feel about this country. Spoiler alert, they appreciate it in ways many of us cannot, but also how tough it is to become a citizen. I'll let Jeremy speak for himself. Thanks, as always, for your support for this show. And if you've got a minute, leave Jeremy a note in the comments. Thanks. I'm talking to Jeremy Ricketts today, who I really wanted on the show to introduce to this audience. Jeremy is our content moderator, so you may see him in the comments of these videos. But Jeremy is also an immigrant to the United States. And I hate to put you on the spot, Jeremy, but immigration seems to be the go-to issue for the Trump-Vance campaign in the closing days of this election. And it's because it's the issue that is most successful for them in generating fear and hate and resentment. Before we get into like the policy stuff, can you just share with this audience what you shared with me about that encounter you had in just a regular bar in LA?
Yeah, sure, Ken. It was a Thursday, went down with a few mates to watch Thursday night football, as you do, and have a quiet beer. And one of the guys that I knew introduced me to one of his friends, and we're both all in the same industry. And obviously, I'm waiting for some work. And so was this other guy. And he said, "Are you an American citizen?" And I said, "No, I'm a green card holder." And he said, "What, you've come here to steal my job?" And so I went, okay, put my beer down, paid for my beer and decided to walk home. And I thought about it when I was walking home that the hatred is so ingrained that I'm feeling for anyone that, why do I have to be a citizen? And the hurdles to become a citizen, I don't think a lot of Americans understand that you don't just become a citizen when you apply to become a green card holder. There's a whole process, and it can take up to 10 years to become a citizen. But as a lawful resident, pays taxes, green card holder, did all the right things, I was very taken back by it. And I was actually shocked. And for me, just a regular guy.
Well, let me add one other thing to that. You're a lawful green card holder. You're paying taxes. You're also a military vet who served in a country's military that is one of the closest partners of the American military. Australia and New Zealand and the UK served side by side with the U.S., honestly, during some of our darkest moments in Afghanistan and Iraq. I mean, it's got to hit especially hard when you think about the sacrifices you and your home country made when America needed your help.
Yeah, definitely. That sank in a little bit later on about, I was even stationed at Schofield Barracks in Hawaii, Really? So I was even based in the United States. But it did hurt that, even as a law-abiding citizen and law-abiding citizen green card holders, we are here not only legally, but, at any time as a green card holder, if you become a major felon, you can be kicked out. So green card holders are law-abiding, walking on eggshells, paying our taxes, doing everything right and wrong. Everything right, nothing wrong, because it's a privilege for us to be here, and yeah, it did hurt especially with the military thing, but I thought I was a better man just to stand up and walk out, because I didn't want to go down that pathway of creating an argument, because I think it was just too ingrained in him that it's that conversation I don't think would have gone anywhere.
One of the misconceptions, really myths, that Donald Trump is drawing on when he says things like there are bad genes in this country because of immigration, or when he talks about immigrants poisoning the blood of this country, he is amping up this idea that immigrants lead to more crime or more disease or more dysfunction in our society. You make a great point, and it's borne out by the data that immigrants, broadly speaking, commit far fewer crimes than the rest of the population. I mean, one, they're incentivized to stay on the right side of the law, but two, they bring a sensibility to being an American or being in America that a lot of us born and raised here don't. There is an appreciation of this country among immigrants that I think native-born Americans would do well to learn from.
Correct, definitely. And that's what I said, we're walking on eggshells, and especially with the initial process of becoming a green card holder, the first 2 years you're on probation. So basically you're on a very tight probation. And then after those 2 years, then you go on to your permanent green card. And then after 5 years of having that, then you can choose to be a citizen. So, you're always conscious. Of course, you want to stay on the right side of the law, as you say. But you're always conscious that it is a privilege to be here. And you want to follow the rules and so forth. So, and you are right. The data it's very clear that less immigrants, we're talking legal immigrants, not even illegal immigrants, but legal immigrants far less commit crimes because the consequences are a lot more for us.
Well, that stat actually applies to undocumented immigrants as well. This whole topic came to the fore with the lie about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, my home state, all of them there legally, and they have been scapegoated in the most horrific way.
I had a call from one of Vance's staffers and asked, hey, are the rumors true? Are pets being taken and eaten by the immigrants in your community? And I said, no, it's a baseless claim. And then to see that continue, to be retweeted by Vance himself the next day, and then sitting there watching the presidential debate to see that is the light that's being shed on our community, even though we've told them that it's not true. That's difficult.
And this is slightly different than the targeting you experienced. Well, in some ways, massively different in that this is also tinged by some deep racism.
Correct.
And I'm sure you observed that in how the Springfield, Ohio story played out.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a whole nother level. But you can see how that small incident with me is filtering down into and expanding out that everyone that's not a US citizen is, my dog's fine. Let me tell you, my dog is all right. It's that crazy that it's that repetitive nonsense, that's just, it's filtering down and in a bar in downtown Burbank, that's the last place you'd expect to hear that sort of rhetoric,
It's Ken Harbaugh. Quick break here to remind everyone, if you haven't yet subscribed to the podcast version of this show, please do. The link is below. And don't forget to rate and review. It makes a huge difference in how the algorithm ranks shows. Thanks for the support. Are you looking for something simple and delicious to add to your wellness routine? You're not going to believe how delicious Manacora honey is. I actually hide it from the kids. Unfortunately, my son is almost taller than me now, so he can reach the top shelf, but this stuff goes fast in our house. I've never tasted honey like it. It's more like caramel, honestly. It's rich, creamy, and ethically produced by Manicora's master beekeepers in the remote forests of New Zealand. Manicora honey contains powerful nutrients to support immunity and gut health. The bees collect the nectar from the Manuka tea tree in New Zealand. The nectar is packed with bioactives, and the honey that is produced has 3 times more antioxidants and prebiotics than your average honey. A special antibacterial compound called MGO also comes from the nectar of the tea tree. It's a game changer, and all you need is 1 heaped teaspoon each morning to get the most out of the amazing bioactives. Additional usage throughout the day is completely fine, especially if it helps cut out other sweeteners. Manicora honey is honey with superpowers, and it's easier than ever to try it. Head to manicora.com/Ken to get $25 off the starter kit, which comes with an MGO 850 plus Manuka honey jar, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, and a guidebook. Thanks, Manicora, for sponsoring this episode. Well, that's why I wanted to talk to you, because I think too often we comfort ourselves with this idea that, look, it could never happen to us. The Haitian immigrant population in Springfield is a world away from where I am. But when you begin separating Americans into us and them, when you evolve a politics of identity and hate and outside and inside groups, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop with Haitians in Springfield. It spreads and spreads and spreads. And to have someone on this team be a direct victim of that kind of hate, I wanted to get you on to share your story with this audience.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to tell the story. That's why as soon as I got home, I forwarded you an email and said, I can't believe that I've been targeted like that, But it just has to stop. And how does it stop? You've got to get the message out there, obviously, but it has to stop because it's going too far.
Yeah. Well, folks, Jeremy Ricketts is our content moderator. You'll meet him in the comments. Leave a post for him. Hopefully nothing he'll have to clean up. Jeremy, great talking to you today.
Thanks, Ken.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.